it's such an honor to be part of this the first DR Tech Summit, together with such amazing panelists. My name is Busi Matsiko Anden. I'm the executive director of the Africa Future Summit and as well as global strategist at Pont Global. And with me, I have an amazing panel with Michael Moder, Richard Picardo, Luis Senner, Franklin Ramirez, Jorge Vargas, and these amazing people, they're influencers as well as tech innovators, and they will be telling us more about their companies as well as what they do. And I mean, we don't have much time, so we will definitely compress um, the questions, and we have about 5 minutes um, each. So I'll just tell you to tell me a little bit about your background and how it brought you to work on what you do, and also how it connects you to diversity and inclusion. I will start with Michael Moder.
Hi. First of all, thanks so much for the invitation. So, well, my name is Michael. I'm the founder and CEO of Ultrastate, is a all-in-one cloud solution for real estate agencies. And so, um, well, a little bit about me. So, I started building software for a company here in the Dominican Republic, building the websites, the online presence, and then in 2019, when I decided to build Ultrastate, was basically just a platform where they could put all the information of their company. Through the years, we've had hundreds of meetings with different clients. Thankfully, the ecosystem over here in the Dominican Republic has supported us a lot. And right now, we have over 2,000 real estate brokers active using the platform.
With
So,
Alter Estate.
yeah, with Ultrastate, yeah. So regarding diversity, we actually in the team we have people from all over the country, over here in the Dominican Republic, but also outside the Dominican Republic. We have people from Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela, and here in the DR. It's uh, basically that is. I mean, we have a small team that plays, so trying to grow from there.
Oh, thank you so much, Michael. And I'll take it to Jorge Vargas, who is the founder of the managing partner of Venture Do. So tell us about how you got started and how you deal with diversity and inclusion.
Hi. Yeah, so just like Michael, I'm a software developer. I started working with technology long time ago. Um, my first company is actually a software development company. It's called Conmira. And from my work with different clients, I started to get involved into entrepreneurship in general. I always like that, very early stage about trying to build a product rather than
Mhm.
managing the company. So it naturally went to startups. And a couple of years ago, we basically started getting involved in the ecosystem, and that's how Venture was built. We started doing events. We started doing a Start Weekend, Hackers and Founders, and several different events for the community, which led to trying to find, what's the best talent, which are the best companies, which is what turned into the accelerator program, which is what turned into our venture studio, and eventually we started funding some companies, and our goal is to build a venture fund in the future. As for your second
Fantastic.
question, we actually do, and this is actually quite interesting. Like most of, like about 50% of our successful companies are the CEO is a woman, but we don't advertise that. We believe that, in equal opportunities, and we believe in, everyone being welcome. So even though we don't advertise our inclusion policies, we have been doing that since the start. Like half my management staff in my software company they're
Mhm.
females, and overall about 40% of the people that work with us are women, which is quite high for the tech industry. But again, that's something that just naturally comes. It's not that we're actively looking for females to join. It's just that they're the best candidates for most of the positions that we have, right? Um, so yeah, I guess that's kind of like our policy is that we don't have an actual policy. We just try to
You
find
just
the
do it.
best person for the job.
You've been involved
Yeah,
in it.
regardless of what's their whatever agenda people have. We're just looking for good people to develop good products, and that's basically what we're looking for.
Fantastic. Oh, thank you so much for that insight. And yes, I'll go to Mr. Richard Picardo. I hope I pronounced your name and well. And you're the growth strategist and build at Reef. Please tell us more about that, as well as what got you started and
Yeah,
how you
happy
connect
to.
to diversity and inclusion.
For sure. Definitely thank you for having me today. I so actually I started in the technology world from coming from a NGO and governmental perspective of things. I was trying to work with the United Nations at the time. I remember when I started to see kind of all the bureaucratics and the politics that
Mhm.
are involved in that process in order to implement social change. I discovered the concept of social entrepreneurship, and I was like, okay, this is perfect. I'm able to, through business and through money making, also make a positive impact in the world. And that really introduced me into the world of technological startups. After that, I have worked in multiple startups in the well, in multiple countries, and currently, like Reef is based out of Miami. We have operations in North America, the London and Dubai, and well, there and I'm mentioning this because this is where inclusion comes in. A lot of what we do is about allowing local entrepreneurs to sell their products um, faster and easier to the population. We are what we call a proximity as a service company. So if you want to expand, let's say you sell chocolates, you want to start selling chocolates in Dubai tomorrow, well, you come to me and then I'll give you the platform in order to be able to do that, for less 30-40% less than if you would have to have a brick and mortar store, and significantly faster in less than a month. So, here there's a strong component of how do I help the local ecosystem of each company, of each country and city reach different parts of the city as well as going into other ones. So that's one part. The other part of diversity and inclusion is, I am also currently advising in a startup studio called Polymath Ventures, that's based in Colombia. And here, I would tell you only 40% of the employees are Colombian. The rest are literally from all over the world. There's more than 40 countries represented. So, for us, it's extremely important to bring in the best people, and it doesn't matter where they are, what's their background, as long as they're able to provide, the value that we're looking for.
Thank you so much, Richard, for that insight with Reef and Franklin Ramirez.
Hi.
You're the senior strategic partner at TikTok, and so tell us how your career came about, as well as how you connect with diversity and inclusion.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah.
Really excited. I started my career in 2013 at Twitter, where I was working just as an associate partner. I was a child then. Wow. And it was increasingly clear during my time in this predominantly, white space that there wasn't a lot of us there. So then that's when I started to realize that this is something bigger than me and bigger than anyone else. It's sort of like every room that I walk in, or like every hallway that I walk in, I'm not only representing myself, but I'm also representing a whole group of people and that comes with a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
So my work within the inclusion space has come in the form of starting the Latinx group at Twitter. It's called Twitter Alas. It's now huge. Ever since
Okay, nice.
I've moved on from Twitter, and now work at TikTok, an amazing company, love it. And I think I continue to do my work through the way that I show up and how I advise other that come, after me, which I think is really the key thing with inclusion. People think that just participating and being included within the group is
You're an
enough.
ambassador.
Right. But you also should think about what is your role within the group. There's no need to just include us when we remain on a lower level role. The really good inclusion and representation comes at all different levels. And I hope that one day we accomplish it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And saving the best for the last, Louis Senior, with EduPass. Please tell us about your career growth, your path, as well as how you identify with diversity and inclusion.
Well, yeah, so basically what EduPass does is help students access college. So we help students navigate the transition from high school to college or from college to the first job. So in terms of diversity, 80% of our clients are female. And the reason why is because like 75% of the students in Dominican Republic in higher education are females. So the majority of the students that are eligible to pursue further studies, meaning like graduate studies, are females. And in our company, 85% of our team are women as well. Women are more educated here than men. So that's very interesting and see how that's going to play in the future for the development of the human capital in the Dominican Republic. And in terms of the work we do, we also work with universities, helping them establish career development programs. So helping students prepare for that first job. As you may know, only 20% of the population has a college degree. So it's very limited in the type of skills that they have for more sophisticated tech-driven jobs. So it's very interesting to have a tech summit because it might motivate some of them to acquire additional skill work related to tech-driven job, available out there. And in my journey, it's been a long journey. I've done many things. I advise the government on innovation, and I consult privately with several universities as well. I'm a college professor in several universities as well. So I keep myself busy trying to, change the system through educating the next workforce and development available in the country.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, I love the way that all of you talk about the different ways of, your amazing career paths and basically just demonstrating excellence in wherever you show up and utilizing that space, you're able to impart it on others and not just speak it, but walk the walk and talk the talk. And how you're able to include others regardless of where they're from, based on their abilities and excellence. And I continue to encourage you to keep up the fights, and that's I'm very encouraged by that. So that moves us to our second piece, which is please share your insight on the state of the tech ecosystem in the DR, any initiatives, programs, or projects that your institution is doing to empower the involvement in the tech ecosystem. I will start with Richard. We have about a minute to go over this.
Yes. All right. So, my first comment on my perception of the ecosystem of the DR is that it's definitely grown. I've been involved in it, I would say, around 10 years now. So now I do feel that we're having higher quality products, businesses, right? And now I think we are overcoming the small business mindset and really thinking as a high growth startups. Like, it's not only about serving the Dominican market, but using our strengths locally in order to expand to other places as well. So that's my main comment on how we're doing there. There's definitely certain limitations regarding funding, but that's also have been improving as investors start to be more and more open to this kinds of projects. In terms of my institution, so Reef itself is not currently in the DR, but Polymath Ventures is trying to enter it through something that I particularly like, and that's corporate innovation. Right, I think that this is it's an interesting strategy, not only to like as a business itself, Polymath as a business, as a startup studio, to continue to have a sustainable business, right? But really as a way to promote entrepreneurship in our local ecosystem. With corporate strategy and innovation, you approach a company and you help them build innovation in their company, and that can come up as a project or hopefully a startup that can serve other companies as well. So, I think that with this approach, it's a completely new layer that it's small, but it's growing. And that's where I think my institution, it's an opportunity that I particularly like that, Polymath is currently exploring.
Fantastic. Yes, thank you for that.
You told me 1 minute, right? So
yes, because I don't want you to miss out on sharing your insights because we don't have much time. I know this will be a conversation that could continue offline or at other summits, ongoing summits. So that will take us to Richard. No, I've already said Richard. Jorge Vargas, please share your insights.
Yeah, sure. So I agree 100% with what Rico was saying. Definitely, I think that the most important thing that has happened the last 10 years is that you see a change in mentality from startup founders, and they're thinking about building products from here to serve the world. That's definitely happening. There's a couple of companies that are already doing it, that are already making, I call it they're bringing in more money into the country than the one that they're putting outside. So definitely looking for those companies, helping them out, working for those companies is probably one of the best things that we can do as a country. Um, Thing number two, well, of course, we run a yearly program. Our program starts actually next Thursday is the last event. It's going to be a public event. If anyone watching wants to go check it out, which is the graduation from this year. January we open for the next batch, and we have seen this, better projects every year, right?
Congratulations.
So thank you very much. So that's something that we're definitely working on. Our program is doing. We start with 20 to 30 companies every year, and that's something that it's definitely one of the main things that we're doing in order to help the local ecosystem. And then the other thing that I know that is happening and it is very good is that the quality of the local events, things like CoCamp, things like Dominican Development Conference. There's a bunch of different events happening all year round, which, sadly, due to COVID, most of them had to either go online or just not happen at all. But I know that most of them, all the local organizations are planning for 2022 to reboot the events back to what they used to be. So that's something that is also happening a lot. And things that we're doing, well, I already mentioned the program. We're definitely going to keep that one up. The other thing that we're doing that is helping a lot locally is
Richard,
there's
sorry
several
to
events, as I said, that are
interrupt you in
happening.
that. Maybe you can add that to when you're doing your closing statements, because we're running out of time, and I would like everyone to have at least a chance within the 1 minute to talk about
No problem.
what they're doing. So, Franklin, just tell us what you're doing or what plans you intend to do in the DR with regards to the DR ecosystem.
I don't know if I specifically plan to do anything within the Dominican Republic to fix the tech ecosystem, but I would love to learn ways in which we can hear from the US as Dominicans in the diaspora help advance that conversation. One thing that I do notice in the Dominican Republic, and this brings back to Luis's point, whom I want to give some time because I think he's doing fascinating work. All of you guys are, but I'm really interested in like educating the community. I think we lost her. Did we? We did. Well, I'll just continue.
I think.
Yeah, she's gone again. So I think that a lot of the work that needs to be done is probably around having access to education, right? And how can we continue to educate people so they can understand the opportunities that they have and the options that they have that are outside of what they've been taught to believe that they can and can't do. One of the main things that I think it's important is, I mean, and I don't know the exact numbers of this, but would love to understand what is the internet accessibility rate within the Dominican Republic? Because ultimately, like if we have a really low just access to the very thing that provides the options for people to learn, then I think we're very limited in that way. So when it comes to helping tech, I don't have any specific plans, but I would love to learn how we can continue to advance what education, accessibility, and equity within the society looks like.
Well said. And before I pass it on, because I know Busi is going to join us back on the panel, I think, internet connectivity is always the basis of whether we could build tech companies and scale. And I think, frankly, you added a really good point. I know, Richard, you added the component of corporate innovation. How do we get the corporate ecosystem to get involved to really scale technology? But I do want to hear a little bit more, even from Luis. I mean, you're launching a platform where ed tech right now is big, especially during this pandemic as we go more virtual. It may not specifically be a conversation about how you're going to accelerate the Dominican Republic tech ecosystem, but how are you becoming almost like a case study of what's possible for the region? So I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, so in alliance with Jorge from Venture and Codemera, we're building the first Dominican bootcamp. And we already have 15 students that are starting in January. Bootcamp has become the new pathway for higher education because bootcamps allow students to learn faster, meaningful competencies to get a meaningful job and a job that pays better with better conditions and remote jobs. So we're launching the first and only bootcamp available in the Dominican Republic. It's called Alternate Academy, alternate as an alternate option to the pathway for higher education. And we plan to do it regionally. We're starting in Dominican, but our goal is to empower the human capital so they can access the jobs available abroad. I mean, like Franklin was saying, someone from here can code for someone in New York or in Brazil or Colombia. So yeah, we're very excited to launch our first cohort. There was a lot of demand. We didn't expect that because we didn't know that people understood what the concept of a bootcamp is. And we're getting some corporate partners as well to co-sponsor students with scholarship opportunities and even their workforce, their internal workforce that needs an upskilling in their abilities for technology. So we're very excited to be helping people access meaningful and relevant skills for the new jobs of the fourth industrial revolution.
Question for you, Luis. How are you making this? I think this is fantastic. I love it. How are you making, how are you marketing it? What groups within the city are you going towards? And is there any way in which any of us or any of our friends, I know my friends would love to get involved?
Yeah, there are many ways of getting involved. And what we did, we went to the cluster sub. So the where all the technology companies are put together, there's like a coalition. And Jorge belongs there through his software company. So he can tell you more later all about it. And we got together and we built a curriculum that was already approved by people that hired these people. So for full stack development or coding or backend or front end or Q&A, like we got a specific syllabus that was designed for people that will actually perform those jobs. So that's why it's a two-way street, but to make sure that people are studying and learning the right skills to get the job. And there are companies waiting for those people already.
Right.
So we're going to have a high level of employment. Like pretty much all of the students will be hireable as soon as they're done. So
I would love to connect because I think there is a way to have like people like me that work at TikTok, Google, Instagram. I know Dominicans in every company to also give you feedback on that syllabus and like what that looks like. And like we can even go in further and look at it by types of jobs. So I would love to connect. I'll find you on Instagram and we can talk offline.
Yeah, I am beaming right now to see what just happened live at DR Tech Summit. And frankly, you said it so well. Like, you may not be in Dominican Republic, but you said beautifully, how do we market it, right? How do we get the word out there? Luis, you just said that you already connected to Jorge, to really connect and build on this curriculum. And I look forward to seeing, obviously at DR Tech Summit, we could blast it and get more people to apply. But you mentioned something about scarcity that, you didn't even think that people even understood the concept of a boot camp. And this is the conversations we should be having when it comes to how do you build a tech ecosystem. Sometimes it's just about starting. And I don't think we do enough piloting and starting. And so I want to pass over to Michael right now to hear his thoughts about how he's contributing to the DR Tech ecosystem, or just what you're working on to really build on what's happening. And I'm going to bring Boosie on to continue this dialogue, because this is amazing, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing this. Michael, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. So basically what Ultrastate we're doing is we're giving access. We have
Hi guys, I'm back. Lovely.
Hi, good to have you. So again, at Altustate, we have one of the biggest database of real estate properties in the DR. And what we're doing is basically, there's a problem in Latin America that you can't access the information of a property. You can know how much a property costs in a specific sector. You can know what's the difference between a property with 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms. And what we're doing is, since we have basically mostly all the brokers over here in the DR, we're giving them access to know exactly how much a property costs. And we are investing a lot of money in basically data analytics and machine learning progress so that they can know at the moment of just going to a property, know how much it costs, how the market behave, and how the price is going to be in the upcoming years. So
Fantastic.
Besides that, we're trying to, with another company that is called Motivus, we recently launched something that's called PropTech DR, which is property technology, small organization to basically let everyone know that from the DR, we are building startups that focus on the real estate segment, and basically inviting everyone that wants to encourage everyone that wants to build a company for the real segment, invite them to this organization so they can access information that you can't find anywhere, not even in the government. So, for example, again, access to that information from different agencies and the market sector itself.
That's fantastic. I mean, all this sharing of information is critical, especially as an ecosystem grows, and the collaborations, the sharing of information. And, I mean, I'm just impressed by how much value and impact you're causing in your companies and affecting the communities around you. And I mean, I'm just in awe. So I'll come back to Jorge. Jorge, did I say your name properly?
Yes.
Okay, Jorge. Yes, Jorge. I would like you to go back to what you were saying before I interrupted you, because I just wanted everybody to at least have a chance of voicing out the ideas before we could be. I didn't want us to be cut off. So you can go into what you were going to say, and then you can give your closing remarks, which could include, in the coming years, what change or improvement do you hope to see as a result of what your company is doing? Thank you so much.
Right. Sure, no problem. And don't worry. So I'll try to summarize it. But basically, and this is actually, as you notice, it's actually beyond what the core company is doing. But basically, we're trying to build three different pillars. So pillar number one is everything that we're talking about education with Altern Academy, with the partner with Luis, Eduardo, which is our other partner in Alterna. We're trying to raise the base level of what a programmer is, and we're going to start with software, but the idea is that we can keep on going into either deeper things, both in tech and maybe even in non-tech, like data science, blockchain, all the different things. Because by raising the bar, by having better starting capital and better starting human capital in this sense, you're gonna have two different things. You're gonna have companies like my company, like other software companies like Michael's, and other outsourcing companies. They're gonna have better talent, which means that they're gonna be able to have better rates, which means that they're gonna be able to charge more and give better salaries to their employees. So that's pillar number two, which is establish working business models, consulting, outsourcing, staff augmentation, things that we already know that work, right? And then pillar number three, which is what we're doing with venture, is let's take companies that are already working and help them fix the things that they maybe skip because the typical saying that in Latin America most startups just start working and then they fix things as they go. So
Mhm.
let's help them be able to scale, be able to grow. And then the other part that we do with ventures that we take ideas from scratch, starting, we build a team around it,
Amazing.
which is what we did with Alterna itself. They started about a year ago. It was like, hey, we know that there's a problem in education. And then, a year later, we have a working team in fact, I was checking the chat and they're like, oh my God, they're talking about us. It's like, yeah, this is actually happening because we have been working about a year on it. So, it sounds great. And
Awesome.
Franklin, we definitely let's talk about it. More than welcome to see how you and others can help. Because overall, and just like closing statement in that sense, everything that we're doing, the idea is that they have to be profitable, they have to be companies, but they have to be community based. Because in the end, if we don't build a community around any of those things, uh, you know, somewhere down the line, 5, 10, 20 years down the line, that I'm not here, who's going to keep doing it? And if there's a community around it, then the company itself will keep growing afterwards. And that's kind of like the three pillars that we're looking for next year.
I'm particularly interested in learning though, how do we build a community of people who like don't usually have access to these things more than like people who like know. So yeah, I would love to help. Like
Okay.
we go to like underrepresented
So I
areas.
think that would help. That would lead Franklin into your closing statements with what you think could come out of this, as well as what you think your company could do, or what you could do to help aid companies such as Venture Do, Reef, Edupass, Alter Estate, and others that going into this ecosystem.
Um, I mean, I don't know what I can do to help. I think the first thing that we can do, and I think the most important thing, is for us to meet one another, right?
Absolutely.
And connect and find out ways in which we can help each other advance the agenda of making a more equitable and accessible space in terms of skills or professional opportunities for all people within the Dominican Republic. And that's sort of how I think Dominicans in the diaspora in the U.S. can help, because we might not know the country like our parents do, because we might not have been born there or like grown up there, but we still want to help and we still want to make sure that we're giving back, and that's how I think I'm going to get
Exploring the synergies.
right.
Yes, and potential collaborations, and I think that's deep. I believe in the segue between the diaspora and the people on the ground. It's phenomenal. There's power. There's a proverb which says, "If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together." And I think this is an example of such. And Louis, what would you say about what's happening, the opportunities, as well as, in your closing remarks, what you think this could come out of this dialogue, and you know
I mean, as you mentioned, our theory of change is investing at the individual level, because the individual is the unit of a member of a society. The more opportunities an individual has, the better educational decisions that individual is able to make that will translate into economic prosperity. So that's what we believe the platform should be, giving the people access to opportunities to learn about other options available out there that they don't necessarily know, because they're in the bubble of developing economy. They don't understand everything that is happening, and we're building the bridge. And as Franklin was saying, collaborating together with different Dominicans abroad or even other countries that are already participating into this bootcamp landscape. I mean, there are more than 50 bootcamps in LATAM. It's becoming the next, edtech thing, and we believe we want to be part of that as a country and work together to create more meaningful jobs and better quality of lives.
Thank you so much, Michael. You're doing a lot of stuff on the ground, and you probably experienced a lot with regards to mindset, both in the diaspora and in the DR. What do you see that could be changed, or what improvements do you hope to see as a result of what your company is doing with regards to mindset change and how we can bridge the gap?
Definitely. So there's the thing, the one with the data for the real estate, and with that initiative, it will definitely change the way the people do business over here, specifically on buying a property. Because since you can't access that information publicly, you don't know if you're buying something that is good, And we have, with the years doing working in State, we have definitely been able to, in some way, change the way the real estate brokers think and operate. And I believe that we have made a big impact, at least in that specific sector. And with the PropTech DR initiative, we definitely want to put the Dominican Republic in the eyes of venture capital firms, so that they want to invest in startups over here in the Dominican Republic, hopefully, and specifically in the PropTech ecosystem. But the main reason is so people know that from the DR, we can build amazing tech products and maybe one day become a tech hub in the region. The same thing is happening in countries like Colombia or Mexico. But I do strongly believe that we have a lot of talent over here. We just need things like, for example, Alterna, which is something that Luis and Jorge are building. So yeah, definitely a lot of potential over here.
Wonderful. I mean, I'm enjoying this dialogue, and I just believe that there's so much offline that's going to transpire as a result of this. Richard, share your thoughts on what you think could come out of this on your part. I mean, with regards to Reef or the other companies you're working with regards.
Of course. So the first thing I want to say is, like, I'm super excited about what Michael mentioned, because I'm a person that deeply believes in the power of transparency and on leveraging data in order to make businesses. And so I think that whenever you open that door, it doesn't matter what kind of data it is, but it really allows you to see where there is a lack of efficiency and where there are opportunities that can really help move an industry in a better direction. So, it really excites me to hear that. And I do want to mention three things that are the ones that Polymath and, I as a person as well want to focus on. So the first one is kind of, following up on the spirit of transparency would be government policy. I don't want to just say government because everybody thinks that the government needs to do better. But what I particularly want to talk about here is the obstacles that can, like, regulations can have for a launch of a new business, for innovation. In Reef, that's something that I consistently face and that doesn't allow me to grow as fast as I want to. So that's something that we need to continue to be a part of. And thank you, Luis, for being a representative voice, as well as Jorge on that. So that's the first thing. The second one is culture. I think that's why I mentioned corporate innovation, because it really addresses something that I have seen, which is, how much does the big corporations in the Dominican Republic, and actually just our regular society, values innovation. I think there's a fear of going with innovation. And so, maybe it comes with a lot of financial commitments, maybe it's not necessary, status quo is more comfortable. So, I think that that's something else that with education, we can tackle both within companies and outside. And then also, kind of embracing failure. And the third part is people. Okay. And for here, what I really want to see, and what I'm really trying to work for, is I want us to have a DR mafia. And this kind of cycle of coming from an entrepreneur, making money, and then having the experience and the money to invest in other entrepreneurs, I think that's the most crucial part to have a successful startup ecosystem. And that's what I'm really hoping to see here, and that we can support to see that and make that happen.
Wonderful. Um, Wonderful. I mean, this has been an amazing dialogue. I'm just in awe of what you've been doing, and I wish you all the best in everything you do. And I know this is just the tip of the iceberg. And one of the things that I'm so fascinated, I'm big on is, yes, the mindset and the collaborations between the diaspora and the people in the, say, the DR Republic or wherever you're working, the importance of looking at the locals as partners and not just trying to impart your information on them. And so when that's what I'm really seeing, that, you know what, listening to and making a hybrid, because communication is key. It's not that there's a word, I see it with the Africa Future Summit, where people say there's a Bintu mentality with sometimes people from the diaspora. You think you can go and impose information on people on the ground, and yet when you collaborate and have synergies, you'll actually get a lot done, and you'll be respected, and you'll achieve more, and just those innovations. So I'm seeing that's what you're doing, and I'm so happy about this change and this growth. And I just see next year, I just can't wait to hear what updates has resulted as a result of this, your continued dialogues.